takes about 6 months if everything runs smoothly from when we are first in an area doing engineering on the poles until we can get all the make ready done and then get the fiber done and then finally be ready to make final connections. Building infrastructure takes a while. We do it as quickly as we can. We have every incentive to do it as quickly as we can. But it's a process that requires a little patience. And so we like to remind the folks that when you see activity in your area and you're starting to see the trucks coming by and people looking at poles, that's a good sign, and service is on the way. And we're trying to get to everyone as quickly as we can and get them connected. We realize the need that's really critical and has been emphasized by this COVID period. The next slide, we just include a slide that reminds everyone we're going to have our standard rates for Firefly. The same that we're charging CVEC members will be what we charge every other Firefly customer. So it's a $49.99 basic starter package with the 100 megabit service that's symmetrical. It's $79.99 for gigabit service. We do offer a voice service. There's no connection fee if you sign up when we're first in the area and building out the construction. And one of the questions we're getting a lot on the Vadi project is how long of a driveway we will extend. We're going to go 2,500 feet without cost. We will go as far as we need to if you're a low and moderate income home without any charge. If you're over 2,500 feet and you're able to pay it, then we're going to charge you about $1 a foot over 2,500 feet. But that will cover most people, we believe, that 2,500 foot allowance. If you have questions or want more information, our website will have the most accurate information, fireflyva.com, and that's a great place for folks to go and see as we release information, as we allow for signups in each area. We appreciate the partnership we've had with Louisa and the great support you've given us, and we're looking forward to finishing up the CVC area and moving off to the other areas and getting underway just as quickly as we can. With that, I'll be glad to take questions.
I got a question, Mr. Wood. Certainly appreciate all you've done for this project. If I understood you correctly, and when we started this, we were talking about the year 2025 as being every home in Louisa County available for connection, you know, if they wanted it. And I just heard you say that you were going to have all of CVEX covered, but does that 2025 year period also include Dominion and RECs?
Yeah, so the CVEC customers will be finished up in 2022.
Okay.
By 2025, we will finish up the Vadi areas with everyone who's defined as unserved. We have committed to being at every location in Louisa, and it's that's a little unique for us. There may be some areas that in the end of 2025 and early 2026 in areas that have other options today, such as cable internet that can go beyond the 25 megabit per second speeds already. We certainly are focused on those and we'll get to them as soon as we can, but we want to make sure we get those unserved areas first, and that's what we've committed to in the next 3 years. That'll be finished by mid-year 2025.
Just primarily concerned about the Gum Springs area, so that you don't forget about that.
Who?
I have not forgotten about Gum Springs, and we will certainly be there before 2025.
That's what I wanted to hear.
Thank you. Mr. Purcell.
Mr. Wood, thank you again. I echo Mr. Barlow. You've been great to work with, and we're very lucky to have these opportunities to work with your company. I just had a question about the map. There was a white area that was in between the towns of Louisa and Mineral, which I understand already has some type of service. It may not be as good as Firefly's, but it's not what you would classify as a underserved area. I've been getting some constituents that have been emailing me recently about because they're not served at all, but so they're not able to get those moderate services, and are anxious to have internet because they work from home, but they're in that white area. Is there a process that I could direct them to apply even though they're in the white area, or is that just a bad luck situation? Or I just want to know what to tell them.
But we don't want to have anybody have bad luck. So we will allow for signups in the areas that we have had defined by the DHCD staff as unserved. I will tell you that we will find a way, if there are people who are not able to access the services from an incumbent provider that provide at least 25 megabit per second service, they can be included and we can add them back into the Valley area. I don't have that process available today. We'll create that very soon. If you believe that you're unserved and you weren't included in the Valley area, and if you are in an area that has service available that's faster than 25.3, but you'd like Firefly, we're going to also get to a lot of those areas. A lot of those areas we'll get to before 2025. But for us to say we will truly get to all of those areas along between Louisa and Mineral and in Louisa, the towns of Louisa and Mineral, that probably will extend into 2026 and be something in addition to this big body project that we're working on.
Thank you, sir.
Anyone else? Mr. Gentry?
I have a real quick question. Again, nice to see you. You talked about Gum Springs a little bit. When can we expect service for the 522 corridor? Are we talking about 2025 there? Because that goes all the way through the county. And farther east, I'm hearing a lot about the western part of the county constantly, but I'm more interested in the eastern part.
Well, we're starting in Shannon Hill with Rappahannock. Then we're moving over to the Mount Hope substation, which is running east of the town of Mineral, and then Buckner, which is a little further east and north. That'll be moving over toward that eastern part of the county. Those are some of the first areas that we are going to move into with Rappahannock. With Dominion, Dominion comes in, of course, on the western side, and will serve the areas off the Dominion build where their facilities are, where their electric customers are. But we will be starting on the eastern side in Rappahannock with several of those substations.
And to be completed by 2025 again?
We will start construction Shannon Hill. That will take us a couple of months, and then we'll be in Mount Hope later this year. And then we'll be in Buckner. I'm not sure whether we'll get there by the end of the year. I'd like to think so. I've got to look at a couple of dates and some numbers of miles. We build about 15 to 20 miles in one area per week. So depending on the number of miles in those substations, that'll give us a timeline. And we'll give those projections out as we put the maps up and give a little better guesstimate, again, within that 12 to 18 month period. But we'll be on the eastern side of Mineral and in those areas building out later this year. We'll still have work to do that'll go on into 2025. Some of those folks will start seeing Firefly service options late this year and early next year.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman. Yeah, Mr. Boyd.
I'm not going to speak long because my colleagues are a little envious of what we are right now in Ferncliff. But I just had to say thank you and your crew for what you've been doing. And I can't wait to get hooked up so I can watch Gunsmoke at a cheaper rate.
Anybody else for Mr. Wood? Mr. Wood, this is Dwayne Adams. Thank you for being here virtually. Obviously, you're someplace has better internet than I have at my house. But two things. One, so your comment about Dominion, that middle mile will be built out and completed by 2022, if I made my note right. That's kind of ahead of any kind of schedule that we thought. I mean, that's kind of a major announcement here tonight, isn't it?
That's a pretty big deal. Yes, we have not officially announced it on our website because we're still trying to get a good feel for exactly when they will start construction. And they may not be able to give us that because they're kind of, you have to be careful when you're going through a regulatory review that you aren't seen to be jumping the gun before it's approved. But I will tell you that Dominion in Surrey County when they received final approval in March of 2020, I believe was their first pilot program with this. They completed construction in April, about 6 weeks after that approval was given. So Dominion does a pretty good job of kind of pushing forward and doing as much as they can. And once we get a better feel for what those dates are, we'll let you know. But I anticipate that it'll be done this year. That's a big deal.
That's a big announcement.
That'll help us get into another area around that Dominion area. And it'll be in some areas where Dominion serves customers electrically, and also maybe just beyond that into some Rappahannock areas that are close by. As part of the design, we'll look for the places where it's most efficient to feed off of the Dominion system versus waiting to feed in from Rappahannock. So
You know, I think
all of that announcement will come more formally in the future, but yes, we wanted to make sure you knew tonight that we were working and plan on getting some folks connected this year.
Yeah, no, that seemed to be big. And then the other thing that I wanted to mention, I hear you talking about the build out west of Mineral, which anything around Mineral is great because that's the area that I represent, and I think it goes into Mr. Williams' area. But I would point out, as I always do to you, I live west of Mineral, and I'm not concerned about me, but I'm really concerned about my neighbor, that you get to my neighbor pretty quickly, the one right past me. So, but that's good news. I mean, a really great update, and I think this pushes us slightly ahead of maybe our overall schedule, but I'm not holding you to that. But I mean, we're moving faster than our original rollout talked about moving, from what I hear tonight.
We are, and we will have crews that work in Louisa. There's a good amount of work in Louisa, as you know. There are so many unserved locations, and they need internet so bad. When we start crews there, I anticipate you'll see our construction crews, the S&N construction crews, working in Louisa on or off in different parts of the county for the next 3 years. In some other counties, we'll be moving in and leaving and coming back. But there's so much work to do in Louisa. We're gonna get in there and get started, and you'll need to put up with us for a while.
Well, you're welcome here. We'll buy you lunch. Anybody else have any other comments? Well, Mr. Wood, thank you. We appreciate it. Mr. Creekmore, thank you. We appreciate it. It's good news. It's continued progress towards this countywide fiber project, and I know our citizens are excited and anxious to have you get by their house. So thank you very much.